Diante, I still don't really want to start. I don't even really want to start going down this road, but I feel like it's time.
Let's
I'm
address
worried
the
about
pain.
Justin Fields.
Yep.
I'm worried. I'm worried about Justin Fields. It's not just the numbers. Obviously, he threw for 70 yards last night. 30 of them came on a flea flicker on the first drive. The Bears threw the ball 11 times. But I'm concerned about the process. I'm concerned about what it's like watching him play the position, some of the details that come along with it. Are you ready to talk me down here, or are we going to go down a road that I'm not going to enjoy?
Before I rewatched it, I was ready to talk you down and, use all the same talking points that I think everybody would kind of fall back on, offensive line, supporting cast, play caller, et cetera, et cetera. And then I turned on the tape and I was like, oh, wow, like the pocket navigation is a problem, like a capital P problem. And I think that it becomes frustrating. And I understand how you landed where you landed, because it's not like he lacks for arm talent. He can place the ball wherever. It's not like he lacks for, athletic ability. If he wants to tuck and run, he can hurt a defense with that. It just seems like so often the tuck and runs are, man, you could have slid in the pocket or stepped away from pressure and delivered the ball. And then the times that he does try to squeeze the ball in the windows, it's like, maybe you could have extended a little bit differently or checked it down instead of trying to push the ball so much. And they obviously didn't have a lot of opportunities. It felt like almost every other drive for them was a 3 and out. Or starting off,
they ran like 43 plays last night.
Yeah, the all 22 film of this was like 21 minutes, which is like not something you do not expect to see from an NFL game. That to me really stood out was the pocket navigation issues for a Packers defense that doesn't even feature, one of those top tier edge rush types. They were just strictly pushing the pocket on him, and he had a really difficult time escaping, buying himself time, and delivering the ball down the field. And he had a few misses on some vertical shots as well that could have opened the game up for them, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the Darnell Mooney deep one was really one of the only times they let him open up the throttle. Yep. He sailed that thing by about 10 yards. The play that sticks out to me is the play where he got called for the illegal forward pass.
Yes.
Packers run a game on the right side. Lucas Patrick actually does a valiant job cleaning it up at the last second to keep his quarterback clean. And there is space in front of him. But rather than slide up in the pocket, which it's a really interesting contrast to what it's like to watch Aaron Rodgers play. There was a play early in the game where Rodgers finds an opening, slides up, and hits Randall Cobb coming across the field on a beautiful third down conversion. And I'm not asking Justin Fields to be Aaron Rodgers, but being able to keep your eyes down the field, to be able to keep yourself square to the line of scrimmage, to be able to navigate that space and keep yourself alive as a passer and feel where that pressure is and where you can escape and where you can keep yourself safe. He struggles to do that. He really does. And when you were looking at Justin Fields last year, if you were trying to talk yourself into the optimistic case for Justin Fields, there are a few different points. The coaching and the offensive system has to be better this year than it was last year. And I do think so far it is. If you look at the run game and some of the designs and some of the ideas that they have for him, I do think the plan is more sound. The other side of it was the splash plays are there. He can push the ball down the field. His arm doesn't lack for anything arm-wise. He can place balls down the field. To me, it's about the process and it's about the feel he has for the game. That stuff wasn't part of the conversation because we knew that was bad. And I needed to see that get better. And it hasn't gotten better so far. I know the offensive line isn't great, but I think you can try to separate some of these issues from the play of the offensive line, as difficult as that might seem.
It's funny, man. Watching him last night, it reminds me a lot of like what the first half of the season looked like for Jalen Hurts last year, where there's just kind of all over the place in terms of the pocket navigation, the decision making. Against a team like the Packers, there is a degree of this that requires you to force the ball into tight windows because they're going to play aggressive coverage. You're going to get a lot of cover one. You're going to get a lot of aggressive quarters from them. And with, the supporting cast in terms of receivers being what it is, there's even less, disincentive for the Packers to move off of that. So you do have to be able to beat guys with tight window throws with your arm. You have to be able to extend plays by navigating the pocket properly. So there is a piece of this that is like, perfect opponent to kind of expose all the things that are wrong with Fields and this offense that you were seeing on Sunday night. But definitely, I think about a vertical throw on a play action pass that I think Eric Stokes or Jair Alexander just completely released. And he was looking that way and didn't even push the ball there and ended up checking it down. after working through the rest of his progression. And those are the plays where you're looking at a guy like Justin Fields and you have to say, hey, man, if you confirm one-on-one on a vertical, I understand that your guys are not necessarily ball winners, but against a defense like that, when you're, as kind of paltry offensively as you are in the passing game, you got to take those shots, especially when they present themselves in that kind of way, in order to be able to open up space, I think, for the rest of the offense, especially on a day where you're able to run the ball well. There's not a guarantee that they're going to be able to run the football like this week over week. And I think that some of that might be a little structural with the Packers, which I'm sure that we'll get to. But if you're having a day where Montgomery, is able to generate in the run game, you have got to take advantage of that with your play action passes. You've got to be able to take advantage of that with your legs if your throw isn't there. I would be more at peace if he was just one and gun and completely just tuck and run and I'm going 100 miles an hour. I can make peace with that. It's like the indecision when you're not sure of what you're looking at. Patting the ball. Okay, I'm going to step up. Now I want to run. Now I want to throw. And that's how you get that, pass beyond the line of scrimmage play. And then things like just missing guys in those intermediate areas. There's definitely a bit of this right now where I feel like the evolution has to be on Fields' part and less so on the offenses, because what they have is just what they have. And I think that what they're doing is the best utilization of the guys that they have. They're going to need Fields to be a better guy under center for them if they want to turn this thing around offensively.
Yeah, the lack of just the indecisiveness and just the pace at which he's playing the position are a concern, and they were a concern last year, and that just needs to improve. The supporting cast is so bad. Yeah. I mean, the pass catching options. Equanimeous St. Brown is a starting receiver on this team. Okay, he played 311 snaps for the Packers last season. 67 of those came in week 8, which I believe would have been the game where their entire wide receiving core was out with COVID, and the game where Aaron Jones had like a dozen targets in that game. He's just not somebody that you want as part of your normal rotation. He's a very good run blocker, and that's what he was last night. That's what this team does well. They're just built. They have so many run blockers, and that's what they have. Yes. But you just can't live that way. You can't. You have to be able to drop back and throw the football in the NFL, and they cannot do it for a variety of reasons right now. And it's starting to get to a point where I'm truly concerned about it.